today. We started with the first episode like work-life balance, and we had a second episode covering the beautiful videos of how do you make a presentation and how to edit videos and all. And today we have come out with another different topic, that is an ION conference. All of us are attending conferences, but as a young ophthalmologist, we should know which all conferences we should attend and what are the things we have to keep in mind while attending a conference. In this regard, we have our own Arup sir, who is the best person to guide us in this topic. And with these few words, I hand over the program to Dr. Vinitha, who will be moderating the session. Power to you, Dr. Vinitha.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, one and all, to yet another webinar from the Yoga series. At the outset, I would like to thank KSOS, Dr. Bastin and Dr. Raki for giving me this opportunity to moderate the session. It is our esteemed privilege to have Dr. Arup Chakravarti to chair the session. Dr. Arup Chakravarti is a senior consultant and director of Chakravarti Eye Care Center, Trivandrum. He did his MBBS and MS from JIPMER, Pondicherry. He was part of the editorial proceedings of AIOS 2017 to 2023, editorial committee, Indian Journal of Ophthalmology. He was a president of KSOS from the year 2021 to 22, ISRS International Council member scientific committee, AIOS 2008 to 2014, organizing secretary.
Vinitha, it will be more useful if you talk about the other people, you know.
Okay. So I'll complete, sir. It's okay. I'll complete it with your permission.
I mean, we have more interesting talks coming up, and you know that is, I think, people
Okay,
are
sir.
looking forward to. You know.
Okay, sir. Sir, I would like to invite you for to gather a few words and grace this occasion.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Vinitha. And you want me to talk now, or?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I would like to thank Bastin for having me here. And Bastin is somebody whom I really have a lot of admiration for. I have seen him attend conferences all over the world when there are not many people from Kerala were attending conferences. So he was there. And I think he's, as a scientific committee chairman, he's doing a wonderful job. And pulling the EOC together in this same platform and giving them an opportunity to reach out to different sections of KSOS, I think is a wonderful plan, wonderful vision on the part of Bastin. So I wish this program all the best. I'm looking forward to learning a lot from this venture.
Thank you, sir, for your humble words. The course coordinator for the session will be our vibrant Dr. John Davis Akara, who needs no introduction. He has represented our humble state in various national and international levels of competitions and has won several awards and recognitions to his credit. Now, without further delay, let's dive into the core of our webinar. So our first talk will be by Dr. Anju Chandran, who will be sharing her insights on how to choose the right conference.
Yes. Yeah, so I'll just speak a few words about the conference, about the webinar series. So while Dr. Anju's talk is loading, thank you so much to KSOS and everybody, including Basan sir, Sai sir, former president, everybody, for helping us to organize this yoga. The Young Ophthalmologists of Kerala. Dr. Rajiv sir has also been very instrumental. Dr. Raki, unfortunately, could not be here right now because of a medical emergency. So I would like to thank everyone, each and everyone, for helping us to organize this yoga programs. And also, I would like to specially thank Arup sir for encouraging me and telling me to go for my first international conference. So thank you, Arup sir, for that as well. And let's go ahead with the talks. Thank you so much.
Dr. Anju Chandran. She works currently in Comtrust as an oculoplastic surgeon, and she has done her MBBS from the Government Medical College, Kozhikode. She has done her DNB from the Dr. Agarwal Eye Care in the Center, Chennai, and she is an awardee of Professor B. Velayudham Award for Academic Excellence, and she is a reviewer of KGO, and she has presented at national and international conferences and published in several peer-reviewed journals. Over to you, Dr. Anju.
Yeah, thank you for that very kind introduction, Dr. Vinita. I shall share my slides now. Yeah, I hope my slides are visible and I'm audible. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes, you're audible. Yeah. At the outset, I'd like to thank KSOS Scientific Committee and the yoke members for coming up with such a unique set of topics. And I've been interested with this very interesting topic, which is to guide you as to how to choose the right conference. So I'll be just putting out my perspectives here because I may not be an expert on the same. So as undergraduates, we basically have no idea as to what a conference is. But then as we graduate into our post-graduation courses, we are running hither and thither looking for a paper or poster, wondering if we should send one for the state conference or the national conference. And this increases multifold when you become a fellow in some subspecialty. So as a consultant, basically, we are looking for means to continue our medical education. So there's a very interesting article by Gregory, who gives his perspectives on the highs and lows of scientific conferences, where he brings out the pros and cons of attending a small conference versus big conferences. He questions the need to go for a domestic versus a foreign conference, whether you should be comfortable in just visiting specialized conferences or maybe increase your knowledge by continuing to attend generalized conferences, or perhaps not step out of your confines of your home and just attend a virtual conference and exchange your ideas like how we are all doing now. So before we delve a little into this topic, let me just briefly introduce you to a few prestigious conferences that we have in ophthalmology. Let's begin in the West. So we have the yearly conference by the American Academy of Ophthalmology, which this year is going to be held in Chicago. And every conference has their set pattern where you have scientific sessions, where you have instruction courses, skill transfer programs. You can put out your work in the form of posters, videos. You can compete in the competitive session and the non-competitive session. And it's interesting to know that there are dedicated days for subspecialties in such conferences as well. The next conference that I would like to highlight is the World Ophthalmology Conference, which is being conducted by the International Council of Ophthalmology. It also caters to all the specialties. It is 4-day long, and it gives emphasis on skill transfer courses. So let's shift a little down east, where we have the Asia Pacific Academy of Ophthalmology, which is basically a federation of national ophthalmic and regional subspecialties. So you become a member of this and you have access to all these conferences. And these are usually conducted in the countries that are indicated here. So it's very heartwarming to note that the upcoming APO conference is going to be held in India in 2025 in New Delhi, along with our All India Ophthalmological Conference. So there are some key features of this conference, such as the yearly Run for Vision, which is a fundraising charity run, and they have the APAO Leadership Development Program, whereby young skills are helped by other peers to take their career forward. Now, coming down to the most important society that we have in our country, which is the All India Ophthalmological Society, which unites all the ophthalmologists under one banner. Like you saw, we have the yearly annual conference, which is coming up in Delhi. And there is a midterm conference, which happens at midway through, which is coming up in Dehradun. And there's an international ophthalmic conclave that brings in all experts in various fields, and you can hear them talk virtually. So the AIOS website is quite an interesting site where you get all the meeting calendars under one. So if you're looking for other subspecialty meetings, then you have it charted along with the date and the venue. And apart from just the international meetings, every state has their regional society meetings, such as our Drishti, which happens every year at the end of November, which is very interesting programs with key highlights for PGs, such as the Teachers of Tomorrow program or the TACO quiz and so on. So that was in brief about the conferences that we have. Talking about all of them would be out of the scope of this talk. The other interesting conferences that are coming up are the ones which recently happened by the Young Ophthalmological Society of India, which was the UOCCon. There are workshops and even cadaver courses that help you take your surgical training a little ahead from what you've already had during your PG or your fellowship. And like the one that we are having now, you have online webinars wherein you have experts talk and discuss, and that is there always for you to go back and refer. So this is how I would like to take it about. So you always begin by marking your calendar, have an idea of the dates as to where your conferences of interest fall in, whether it's cluttering a bit, plan ahead. So I took a small survey amongst friends and colleagues, and the general opinion was that an ideal itinerary for the year would be to attend one state conference, one national conference, or a subspecialty national conference of your choice. And if you have the budget for an international conference, then yes, that too. And any number of regional CMEs that happen in your city or the adjacent districts. Once you've marked your calendars, the next thing is some of us are really lucky to have academic leaves, which you can avail for your conferences. But the others, you need to make sure that you have an idea as to how many days you can spare from your personal leaves for conference leaves. So the next thing that makes you wonder whether you should go for a conference is how is the venue? What are the logistics, the connectivity to the place? How many days of travel would be there? Whom should I take along? And all those things. So this will roughly outline your budget because apart from just the travel and stay expenses, I'm sorry, there was a slight technical glitch. May I go on? Dr. Vinita, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, Dr. Anju, but your slides are not visible.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry for that glitch. I just lost my connectivity there.
Your slides are not visible, Dr. Anju.
Can you see my slides now?
No, it's not
Now?
visible. No.
Just a second. Is it now?
No, it's not visible.
Okay. Would you like to go on with the next speaker while I sort this out then?
Okay,
Or
yeah, I think we'll carry on with the next speaker to save the time. Dr. Shweta is ready with her next talk.
Yes, I'll share my screen.
okay, I'm sorry to interrupt, but is it 1 second? I'll just stop sharing this. Sorry.
I shall carry on with the next. We shall carry on with the next speaker, Dr. Shweta. I'll give a brief introduction about her. She is currently working in Jodish Eye Care Center in Kannur as a glaucoma and phaco surgeon. She did her MBBS from Calicut Medical College and MS from Coimbatore, and has completed her fellowship in glaucoma from Satyan Eye Care Hospital, Coimbatore. And she is the chief instructor of in various platforms of AIOC, KSOS, and GSI conferences, and an invited faculty speaker at TNOA. Over to you, Dr. Shweta. She'll be talking on the abstract preparation, understanding the guidelines, and submission.
Thank you, Vinayta, for that kind of introduction. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible and your slides are visible.
Okay, right. So good evening, everyone. Thank you, KSOS Scientific Committee and York team for this opportunity. So my focus is on demystifying the process of abstract submission. We all know that submitting abstract is often the first step in participating in a conference. Now, each conference has a specific guidelines to ensure the consistency. So Dr. Anju has already showed us that opportunities that we have, lots of conferences we have. But my focus will be mainly on the two conferences which we have in our country. That is one our state conference, the Kerala Society of Ophthalmic Surgeons, and the second is the AIOC. So in AIOC, so what are the types of abstract that we can send in AIOC? So we have instruction courses, we have physical poster, we have free paper, e-poster, video theater, Hyde Park, and poster podium presentations. So generally, whenever so few neophytes do ask what this instruction course is, so we can submit abstract in different categories which are shown here. And whenever we go into the portal of submission in the AIOC, we get this here where we can submit our abstracts, the instruction course, paper and poster and video. They show us how many maximum we can submit. So what is this instruction course? Instruction course is nothing but it is a detailed educational series that is led by expert. If you are good in any specific area, we concentrate on a specific area and you get a time frame, maybe 1 or 1.5 hours of time in which you can present your the whole topic. You can include other co-instructors. Maximum of 6 co-instructors in AIOC can be included. And then if you are, for example, if me, glaucoma consultant, I can talk something about the OCT where you will have more in-depth knowledge. Generally, recent topics with established information is included and controversial topics are not included in the instruction course. In AIOS, we have, as a chief instructor, you can submit 1 IC and you can give consent for 7 ICs as a co-instructor, but you can participate in 5 ICs and the chief instructor should be a ratified member. Whereas in KSOS, submission is 1 IC per as a chief instructor and you can give consent in 2 other ICs as a co-instructor. So abstract in an instruction course, you have course title, course outline, top, which includes this number of characters with space. So course title should be 100 characters with space. Course outline 1000 characters with space. So you outline whatever you are going to present in that, give it in a very simple words, what you're going to include in it, and any new innovative ideas are there, you have to include in the synopsis. And topic for each speaker and the time allotted, you have to mention next. And chief instructor's resume is something which you have to carefully plan and write. So in this, you do not give your personal details, but you can include what you're good at so that how you're eligible to do this instruction course. So seeing the word count, if you have Keynote, I mean, if you have an Apple software, I mean, system, you take pages and you type it in that. And in the view, here you show the word counts. So you can see the characters with spaces. This is how you see the number of characters. The similar we have in Microsoft Word, you have to go to the tools and see the number of words. So then we have the free paper presentation. This is a short oral presentation on research findings. It can be a case series or case study. it's an opportunity to present their work. Generally in AIOS, it's a free abstract. In KSOS, it's 4 free papers you can submit. And these free papers do have awards, which will be discussed later by Dr. Shishir. And case reports are generally not accepted as a free paper. So you take either the series or a complete case study. So abstract, you have to give a title which is of 100 characters, and the body should be designed as study design, purpose, methods, result, conclusion, and clinical implication. And there are video theaters in which you can present your videos. It needn't be only the surgical videos. You can include any videos which has an educational, or you have to show how you're going to examine a patient of, for example, any nystagmus patient. Anything you can include in a video. And but the important is at the time of submission, you have to keep your edited video ready, because sometimes you will have to upload the video then and there. Sometimes it will be after a few weeks. So it depends upon the conference guidelines. And then you have the physical poster, which is a visual presentation which is displayed on board. Any interesting case which you have managed effectively, or case series or case study, you can use your own imaginations, some controversial topics, anything you can do in a physical poster. E-poster is a digital version where author need not be physically present. And then we have the Hyde Park, where submitted free papers or accepted e-posters can be read by the presenter, but there is no award for this Hyde Park. First 80 requests are accepted. Then you have the poster podium presentation, which is a chance to present your e-poster on a podium. So you can see that you have lots of opportunities in the conference to present your work. So all these guidelines are given in AIOS website, and each conference, if you go and see, there will be guidelines, specific guidelines, and you have to submit accordingly. So similarly, in Drishti KSOS conference, you have similar instruction course, free paper, taco poster, and video, which can be submitted. Now let's go to the tips to write a compelling abstract. You have to carefully plan your abstract, because for it to get accepted, the person who is reading it should understand what exactly you're trying to convey, and it should have a clarity, and there should be attention to detail. So first and foremost, understand the conference theme and guidelines. Strictly adhere to the guidelines and word limit. It shows professionalism. Craft a clear and compelling title. You have to be very specific and informative. The title should clearly convey the main topic and focus on your research. If possible, avoid jargon or overly complex languages in the title, and structure your abstract effectively. Give a good background, clearly state the purpose of your study, briefly describe the methodology and approach, and summarize the key findings and highlight the significance. And also highlight the originality and innovation. You have to emphasize what makes your work unique and innovative compared to the existing work. If it addresses any gap, you can include it in your abstract. Also be concise and focus and stick to the point. And use clear and precise language. Avoid technical jargon. Use straightforward language which is understood by a broader audience and not just the specialist. And always proofread and revise. You can send it to your mentor or your colleague to proofread and revise it. So these are some of the abstracts which I have sent for the instruction course. So you can see this is for the KSOS which I have sent. And just I'll show how to submit an instruction course. There are 4 steps in submitting the instruction course. At the first step, you select the what the category is, and then you have to select what is the level of course, whether it is basic, intermediate, or advanced. And generally, the duration of the course is 90 minutes, but it varies from conference to conference. And then in the second step, you have to enter all the title of the course, synopsis, and the brief resume. So all the characters, 100 characters, 1000 characters are all mentioned here. So this has to be entered. And the third step is to add a topic for the chief instructor. So add a topic for the chief instructor. You can add the topic here, show the duration and the topic order number. And then you go for the co-instructors. Co-instructors. co-instructors can be selected with the help of the number, the ID. I think my
Dr. Shweta?
I'm sorry, I have some problem here. Is my slide visible?
No, it's not visible, but your audio is clear.
Okay. I have some network issue here, I think. So I think I basically covered what I wanted to tell. So we have lots of opportunities here, and even in the midterm conference, if you see, you keep getting mails every time. So you just enter into the WhatsApp channel of AIOS and the KSOS, and these have AIOS proceedings are there of the previous conferences where you'll get all the what do you say, the previous videos, the abstracts which they have sent, the videos of their presentations will be present in the AOS proceedings. So you can go check, if you are new to this, you can go and check the previous conferences, and then you'll get a clear idea of what exactly you have to do. So thank you. I think my slide is not working here. That is a brief I wanted to tell.
Thank you, Dr. Shweta. That was another enlightening talk, and she has beautifully described the 4 C's of abstract writing as being complete, being concise, clear, and cohesive. So, Arup sir, could you share some of your inputs regarding the same?
Yeah, it was Shweta, it was a nice talk. So the few comments which I would like to make is, you plan at least 1 year in advance. So, for example, for 2025 conference, the AIS conference that is coming up, AIS-APA conference, you plan at least 1 year in advance. So many a time, what we do is, the deadlines are coming up, there are frequent reminders coming from AIOS and your peers, and you submit something. So that usually doesn't end up being a very good paper. It is usually a retrospective study, and when you work on that paper, you find that a lot of data are missing, a lot of useful data which would have added value to the paper when you present it eventually. So chances of that getting accepted or getting some prize, going up in the top 10 or the podium, the Rangachari session will be much less. So it is better that you plan in advance, 1 year earlier, and you have a couple of studies in your mind, start working on those papers, have collect the cases, the take proper pictures, have proper videos if those are surgical cases, and then you submit the paper. And when you submit the paper, you don't again start the night before, until unless you have a lot of experience or repeating a particular paper abstract. Write couple of weeks in advance, and then you review it. After a few days, you come back and rewrite it. So here it is very useful to be very concise, and you should not leave anything unexplained in your abstract. Don't write anything that this will be done, this will be presented. So whenever we review abstracts, when the abstract says that this will be done, that will be done, we know that this is something, a paper which is not going to be a serious paper, because author has just done last minute work, and so that is not like to get you high marks. So you should have completed the study, and read the abstract several times. Try to make it as concise as possible and as informative as possible. And certain abbreviations are of course allowed, maybe in the title and subsequently in the abstract. You don't have to repeat those full this thing. You can use the abbreviations. So read it several times, and then you submit it. Of course, if you are a postgraduate student or a resident or a fellow, it is important that you show it to your guide, who will give you better ideas as to how to polish it, how to fine tune it, and so that is the way you have to go about your paper submission. And sometimes, if you have not attended any national or state meeting, and it is a first presentation, next year you're going to make a presentation, so go through the abstracts as it was mentioned, you go to the editor proceeding site where the last so many years abstracts are all uploaded, and see what are the kind of papers that have been work that has been done, what has not been done. So that will give you a very good idea as to what to work on. So you don't have to start from scratch. You already have an idea about what is going on in these directions, and this is incomplete, or this is very preliminary. Maybe you can you have more to say on that particular topic. So be very wise and judicious in selecting the topic of your free paper. And same thing holds true for instruction course. Instruction course, of course, is a different ballgame altogether. But what I mentioned just now is free papers, and free papers always give the option paper bar poster. Otherwise, if your paper gets rejected, then it won't be considered as a poster presentation. And a poster presentation in an international conference, like American Academy, or it carries a lot of value. A lot of people really read your poster. They read, they ask you questions. So poster is something that is not to be underestimated. So give both the options. If it is not accepted as a paper, it will be it may be considered for a poster presentation. So this is what comes to my mind of offhand, and maybe if something else comes up to my mind, I'll just comes up in my mind. I'll let you know in due course.
Thank you very much, sir, for those very valuable tips. I can see Dr. Prithvi, Dr. Rasana, Dr. Ramya. Could you please share your inputs also regarding the same? Dr. Prithvi, Dr. Ramya, Dr. Saumya.
Good evening.
Yes.
I'm Dr. Prithvi here.
Yeah,
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Thank you, Yog, for having me here. Actually, one thing I would want to say is about being a member before, submitting an abstract. That is an important point which I felt, because first thing you need to do is become a member of the All India Ophthalmic Society and your state, society. So only then will you be a ratified member after a year. So it takes about a year to be ratified, and then you'll be eligible for AIOS. That is one thing which I would want to say. And that becomes a very because I had a very very bad experience when I presented in the first conference. And so that's why I tell everybody, the first thing you have to do is become a member in these, at least the national and your state societies. So then that becomes you become eligible for awards. So that is one thing. And second thing is always have a mentor, because I had a mentor. I had Dr. John to help me with all these things. So that had made my whole process very much smoother and easier. So I would always ask a person to have a mentor who can guide you in the right direction in these aspects. These are two things I wanted to actually add on to this.
Thank you, Dr. Prithvi, for those very useful tips. Dr. Ramya, would you like to say a few words? Dr. Asana?
Yes. Thank you, York team. Yeah, you should see actually the guidelines properly. And especially for these submissions, you'll be having time limits. While presenting the paper, you will have time limits. You should not exceed the time limit. And even if it is less time, it's okay, but you should not exceed it. And better to present before to your colleagues or mentors, so that you will come to know the mistakes. You may not have actually realized it. And the questions the judge may ask, you can present it to the peers in the same subspecialty if you have. And so that you can prepare well. And be confident in your presentation and try to make everything simple. If you don't know the answer, just say, I don't know, and be honest in your presentation. That's what, like Shweta said, sometimes we may have to upload the video beforehand only. So you should be prepared with your video, make beforehand only, because you may have to present it, upload it earlier. Because otherwise you just go there, and I had one bad experience where my audio was not working. So I had to present, do it manually. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ramya. That was really an excellent feedback from you. Dr. Rasana, would you like to say a few words?
Hi, good evening, everybody. So what I want to add is that, there will be n number of presentations in any conference if you take, but selecting one particular paper or poster for award means what I felt is the most important thing is that the clarity of presentation is what matters the most. So we'll have a lot of findings, we'll have a lot of inferences after a study, but highlighting the most important things and not creating confusion to the audience is what matters the most. And and there will be a little bit of luck factor also, but we cannot always claim that okay, the one which got award is the best among all these, but it's just about a matter of clarity of presentation and coming to the point and getting or arriving at the correct inferences and make the audience understand exactly what you mean. And of course, the presenter's confidence and preparation matters a lot. And always we cannot claim that the award winning one is the best among all, but it's just a matter of how you make the matter clear to the audience. That's what I want to specify or point to.
Excellent, excellent, Dr. Asana. I'm sure many of the youngsters will be benefited from these tips.
I just wanted to add one point. See, I thought we are talking only about abstract writing, not presentation skills. I think perhaps there's a topic separately. So when you submit an abstract, it is important to be aware which conference is this. For example, see, in the Western world, if it is for the European conferences or for USA, a course or on any paper which is based on small incision cataract surgery will be looked upon with a lot of interest. Okay, so I mean, in India, when you submit such an abstract in India, everybody is doing it. So there's nothing novel about it. There's nothing new that one is going to talk about. So it is very, very likely that until unless it has a huge numbers or it gives very interesting results, it will not be accepted. On the other hand, if such a thing goes for an international American Academy or ASCRS or ESCRS, it is quite likely that these abstracts will get accepted. And this is not only for not only for the posters, I mean, for the written presentations, for oral presentations, but also for video presentations. So you must be familiar with, what kind of, conference that you're targeting. That is important.
Yeah, myself, Dr. Soumya, I do agree with sir. Actually, I'm going to present at World Ophthalmology on SICS itself. So it matters. We think that only FACO will be taken for only world and everything, but no, it's nothing like that. A small case like SICS in PPC, it's my video. It's being going to be presented at World Ophthalmology. So you can take that challenge and make presentations upon that. It will be much easier for you also. We'll be doing that. We can also do more preparations on this small incision and itself. I do agree with sir.
Thank you, Dr. Soumya. Once again, thank you, Dr. Arup sir, for your feedback. So for want of time, before going to the next talk, I would like to ask Dr. Anju, are you ready with your slides?
Yeah, I'm just sharing it
We'll
again.
continue it. Yeah, okay.
Is it now? Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah. You can continue.
Okay. So sorry about that glitch. I think Northern Kerala is having some unexpected rains. Okay, so now we have marked our calendars. We have accounted our leaves. We have almost zeroed in on the location of the conference, and they outlined your budget for the same. So now, like we already spoke about, making your trip more purposeful to a conference, that would be by sending in an abstract, which has been beautifully described by all. And you can also choose a conf by looking at the speakers who would be your idols or doyens in that particular field. So going there all the way would make it really worthwhile, and also being part of an excellent faculty so that you get to discuss and come up with new ideas and innovations that would help your practices. And something interesting that you can do is when you visit a place where the conference is being held, if there are any prominent surgeons or institutions where you would like to go and observe their practice, you might come back richer with things that you wouldn't be doing otherwise in your practice, like how I work in an institution, but I got to see how a freelancer would work. And then obviously attending, meeting international delegates and exchanging what the way they practice. And yes, entertainment is definitely a part of any conference, and you wouldn't want to stop shaking a leg. And sightseeing, of course, comes as part of conferences where you get an opportunity to visit places that you wouldn't have before. So this was a little exercise that was given to us by our mentor during our fellowship days at Shankar Nethralaya, where when we come back from a conference, we have to make a report and summarize some new points learned and talk about 10 new faculties that you met and where they hailed from and what new collaborations that you've made, and share it with your colleagues. So this way, this is also a self-introspect as to you assessing how much you benefited from the conference, whether it was worthwhile going all the way. And not one solution fits all. So it's important to have a work-life balance. You cannot be jeopardizing your work schedules and running hither and thither to all conferences and coming back to empty OPDs or ORs. And similarly, you cannot be absent away from home for so long. So you need to work out on a schedule that ensures that everything goes in a balance. So that was a brief perspective on my behalf on how to choose a conference. I hope you all benefited from that. And thank you so much for a very patient hearing.
Thank you, Dr. Anju, for that very enriching talk. Arup sir, could you please share your insights on this?
Yeah, I think Anju covered it pretty much well. So I mean, what I'd like to emphasize is, as when you come back, maybe on your return flight, you just summarize what all things you learned from the conference. It need not be academic only, but I mean, how was your travel? How would you like to improve upon it next time? How's the accommodation? How did you find the accommodation? I mean, how was what struck you as something interesting in the culture of the city that you visited? So these points are also very, very important. You not only enrich yourself academically, but also you keep learning cultures of different people, and that also definitely makes you a better person. And then academically, of course, I mean, what are the points you have noted down? That is important because now, of course, it has become easier because you have the on-demand things, and you can watch many of these talks later on. But it doesn't happen. When you come back, touch base, and your workload and other things come up, and it's very infrequent that it's not very uh, practical to go back again and watch the on-demand. So best is to make your own notes, how you're going to modify your practice pattern, and what are the new treatment modalities you have learned, what are the new things you're going to read up, so that you work on those lines and become a better an ophthalmologist, or or work on a different line for a better paper presentation in a different direction. So I think that's about, I mean, how I like to go about after attending a conference. So it is all in the flight itself or in the airport in the waiting, when I just fill up my point, note down my points. And then when I come back, I get it typed out and, I just add it.
Thank you, sir. So now we'll go on to the next talk, which will be by Dr. Rania. She's probably the youngest ophthalmologist from our state to achieve an international scholarship to her credit. She will be talking to us on the grants, scholarships, and funding opportunities. She is currently the second year DNB resident in Giridhar Eye Institute, Kochi. So over to you, Dr. Rania.
Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. You could share your slides.
It is
Yeah,
visible,
it's
right?
Yeah, please continue.
Okay. Good evening, all. So I'm here to share my experience as a travel grant recipient of APSCRS 2024. So I'll be sharing how I applied for the grants and also what are the steps I have taken. First of all, I'm thanking KSOS for giving me this opportunity and Giridhar Eye Institute for guiding and supporting me throughout the process. So my journey started with abstract preparation. So it was in Jan 2023 when we residents were allotted with different topics for KSOS paper presentation, and my topic was anterior segment optical coherence tomography biomarkers in recurrent corneal erosion syndrome. So under the guidance of Dr. Sugaranjani ma'am and Vinay sir, I completed the study and our abstract was ready by July that year. It was Sugaranjani ma'am who told me about the APSCRS travel grant, and when they invited applications for travel grant in September, we were ready with our abstract, and I applied through their website www.apscrs.org. So for the application, we need an abstract along with a CV and a letter of verification. So for APSCRS, we can submit abstract for either a free paper or an e-poster in different categories. And the requirements for the abstract were the title should be brief, concise, and it should not exceed 150 characters, including space. And the abstract text should not exceed 250 words. And after about 1 month of submitting the application, the APSCRS team sent me a mail saying that I have been selected for the a travel grant for the travel grant for my RCS study, which is to be held in Chengdu, China, and to further proceed with my registration. They also mentioned that I'll be getting an amount of $1,300 upon confirmation of my presentation and attendance. So I proceeded with registration under the resident trainee fellow category. And for the visa procedure, I needed a letter of invitation from Chinese Medical Association. So I requested for the same through their website, and I received it within a week. Then for the visa, other requirements were a covering letter from the institute, proof of stay and confirmed round trip ticket along with the passport. And all the details like hotel reservation were there in that website. So then I landed in Chengdu on the first day of conference, and it was really an enriching experience. And I got a very good opportunity to attend sessions of many international faculties. And my presentation was on the third day with a 5-minute slot for my presentation and 1 minute for the discussion following. And I got my certificate after the presentation. I also had the pleasure of meeting many doctors from different countries. And it was actually my first international travel experience, and my husband also accompanied me. And really, it was a great experience. And about my expenses, together it came about $1,200. And within 2 weeks of the conference, they have transferred the grant amount into my account. So that's it. So I encourage all the PGs and fellows to apply for such conference. Not only APSCRS, ARVO, APAO, AIOS are giving travel fellowships to residents and fellows. So not only you will get a chance to present in an international conference, but you can also see and explore new places. If you need any assistance in applying APSCRS, you can contact me through my mail. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rania, for that eye opener. So you have basically talked about reimbursement. You've talked about the conferences that are going to be giving this kind of an opportunity. What about the age barrier? Is there any age barrier for the same?
No, I think because I applied for the general category. So I don't, they didn't mention anything about the age barrier. And there were consultants also presenting for that.
Okay. Arup sir, could you?
I think at the outset, congratulations, Dr. Rania, for your. Did they give you the full amount or $1,000?
No, $1,300 full
Okay,
amount.
that's good. Yeah.
Thank you.
See, I just narrate a few anecdotes. The first EACRS meeting that I attended was in 2006. So there was one consultant, one of my friends, senior to me. He is quite well known in AIOS. So he was traveling free. Everything was taken care of. So I asked him, how did you manage? He said, I just wrote to them that I come from a developing country, a poor country. And though he comes from one of the most, and one of the richest eye hospitals in the country, but still he wrote to them. And for 2 to 3 years, the ASARS bore his expenses. And so that is it. So now that has stopped. So that doesn't happen any longer. Then a couple of years back, I was attending an APO meeting. Then I found out that there is no age limit. I was always under the impression that it is less than 35 years or 40 years or something like that. But I saw a couple of senior people, senior professors. Everybody knows them. They, in the APO, they also got a travel grant, and that is given during the inauguration session. Where your name is announced and you walk up to the stage and they give you the money. So next year I also applied for a travel grant and I got it. So it is only one time. You can't avail it year after year. APO travel grant, if you got it once, and that is it. So I think, and there are a lot of other avenues where, see, for example, if you, I have heard people in my younger days who told me, Arup, if you want to attend this meeting, so you just write to us, that you can't afford to, to bear the cost, and we will try to find, some sponsor to help you out. So there's no harm see, if you feel that you lack the finances currently to travel to, to give a talk, make a presentation, make your work known, you can always write to the organization to help you out. You can always write to even it is international organizations. You make a point that I want to present and this is what I have done. Of course, you should have a strong CV, good number of presentations behind you, and then it may work out. If it doesn't work out, they will at least they'll apologize, and you have nothing to lose. But if it works out, there's nothing like it. It will be very encouraging. You'll be saving a lot of money, and you'll definitely be feeling happy about it. So I think APSARS gives grants, APO gives grants. AIOS have been giving grants for the last more than a decade or so, and so does for example, you could write to Seva Foundation. You could write to site savers, so asking them whether there's any provision for for subsidizing your conference attendance cost, and who knows, good results may come out of it. I missed you there, Rania. I was there for 2 days, but I wasn't there on the third day. I think two people from KSOS who availed of APO grant. One was John. He just mentioned about it, and the previous to that was he was a cornea guy. He's in UK now. Certainly having a thought block. So
Prashab, Dr. Prashab.
Yeah, Prashab Mohan. Yeah, Prashab was there. Yeah, right. So I think you just have to be on the lookout, and things definitely will work out.
Thank you, Arup sir, for that brilliant overview. Dr. Saumya, Dr. Prithvi, Dr. Shishir, anyone would like to make some contributions?
Yeah, like Dr. Arup mentioned, there are a lot of travel grants available, and nowadays a lot of young ophthalmology travel grants are there, and most of these travel grants are given to ophthalmologists below the age of 40 years. So that's one thing most of these travel grants usually say. So if you are doing your fellowship or your senior residency, you should definitely take the advantage of applying for these travel grants. Nowadays, you have ChatGPT to help you with how to write a travel grant. So you can just go to ChatGPT, type it, and it'll give you a format. And you can add to your helps in adding to that. You can add your own ideas to it and then make up a good reason as to why you should require a travel grant.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Shishir. So now we'll move on to the next talk by Dr. Neelima, who will sail us through how to avail a travel grant. So Dr. Neelima is currently a cornea and refractive surgery fellow in Shankara Eye Hospital, Coimbatore. And she has done her MBBS from JIPMER, MD from AIMS, New Delhi, and she's a recipient of AIOS International Travel Grant 2024. Over to you, Dr. Neelima. Could you please share your slides?
Yeah, I hope I'm audible. I'll just share my screen.
Yeah.
Are my slides visible?
Yeah, your slides are visible. You can carry on.
Okay. Okay. So a very good evening to everyone present here. So my topic is the way to secure an AIOS travel grant. So why should you aim for a travel grant? It has been covered previously as well. It is a huge learning opportunity to be able to present your work at an international platform. You get appreciation for work, which pushes you to perform better. You can also meet like-minded individuals from around the world, which will help you with professional development and networking opportunities. And it also gives you some financial support because these conferences are expensive. So it helps to lighten your burden a little. And you can also meet people who are doing similar research from around the world. So it can help with collaboration. And finally, it motivates you to pursue excellence. So the AIOS travel grant works on the reimbursement model. So it will, the money will be reimbursed to you after the conference and after you submit all the bills that are required. Applications open twice a year, and the deadline is 2 months before the start date of the conference. And a basic set of documents are needed for application, which I will be covering in the subsequent slides. So this is how the email is sent out usually. There are three categories of fellowships. So category A is for conferences that are set in USA, Europe, Australia, New Zealand. Category B is for Asia, Africa, and Southeast Asia. And category C is for the annual AIOS conference. So it comes out in 2 rounds. One is for conferences with dates in April to September, and the second one is for October to March. So in each of these will have separate application deadlines, which will be updated on the AIOS website and also through email. So you need to keep an eye out for the same. And you have to apply within this window. And it also has to be 2 months before the starting date of the conference. So you sort of need to get your timeline figured out. In order to be eligible for this travel grant, you have to be a ratified AIOS member. You must have made a presentation at annual AIOC as a free paper or a poster in the last 3 years with age less than 40 years. You're also supposed to submit an undertaking that you've not attended this particular conference in the last 3 years, along with a proof of acceptance of the paper. The email from the conference organizers will suffice for this. And you need to give your CV also, along with a no objection certificate and endorsement from the head of your institution. So this is the application form. It is available on the website. You can print it out and submit it along with the other documents, as I've mentioned previously. So how do you go about this process? As was discussed previously, you have to find the conference most suited for your particular study. After that comes the abstract submission. So make sure you have it ready well before the deadline. At this point, I would also encourage you to take advantage of the early bird registration rates of the conference because it does tend to get a little higher as you skip that timeline. So you can save some money here as well. And you can also collect all your documents that you need for your travel grant application and keep it ready so that once you get your acceptance email, you can immediately apply without wasting any further time. And if you are granted the award, then you need to keep a copy of your documents for the reimbursement process. Reimbursement process is fairly straightforward. You need to, after you come back from your conference, you need to forward your acceptance email along with copy of your boarding pass or flight tickets and proof of presentation in the form of photographs. So make sure you have somebody there take your photographs. These conferences will have official photographers as well, but those are generally released later. So you need to make sure you have your own, along with certificate of participation, which will be given out by the organizers. So here I would like to reiterate that it is a very simple, straightforward process. So anybody who is planning to attend any conference should try to submit for the same because it is very encouraging to get any sort of recognition for your work. So for the same APACRS conference which I had attended, I was fortunate, along with the travel grant, I was fortunate to receive the best paper or session as well in the Konya category. So for me, I can say without a doubt that it did help to boost my confidence and push me in the right direction. So I hope this has been helpful and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Nilima. So about reimbursement, is there a time frame within which you got it?
Nothing was, I submitted immediately after the conference and I got it within 1.5 weeks.
And what about the age barrier for this?
Less than 35 is what it.
Okay. Arup sir, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, I think congratulations, Dr. Nilima. She happens to have done her MBBS from the same place where I studied. So it makes me feel very happy. And so, I mean, what was the quantum of reimbursement? And did they take care of the whole expense or
No, sir. So 25,000 was
Yeah,
the
yeah. So something
yeah.
is always better than nothing, isn't
Yes,
it?
yes, yes,
And as you said, it is quite an encouragement,
yes,
to feel that, you have been helped along the way by your parent
mm,
organization.
yes,
So yeah, I think it is, we should, there are so many avenues open which were not there during our times. And now, and one has to be on the lookout. And, even if there is no official, as I was mentioning earlier, grant this thing, there's no harm in writing to the organization. And that, you would like financial assistance to present some good work and all that. So I think, one should be always very positive about the outcomes and keep trying.
Thank you, Arup sir and Dr. Nidima. Does anyone have any things to contribute? Dr. Shishir, Dr. Rania, Dr. Saumya, anyone? Okay, so we
See,
can.
there is another way to, to get some kind of a financial assistance is if you happen to, become a faculty member in any of these, either APSCRS or APAO, your registration gets waived off. The same thing is not offered for the American meetings or European meetings, not that I'm aware of. But if you have a speaker's role in or a paper evaluator role, in APSCRS or APAO, they usually waive off your not usually, they always waive off your registration fee. So that comes to some amount of saving.
Thank you, sir. So now let's head on to our final talk by Dr. Shishir. He'll be giving us a talk on the awards, prizes, and accolades. So we don't probably Dr. Shishir, 2023 and 2024 has been your golden period. He has achieved most of the awards and accolades to his credits. So he's the best person to talk on this. Over to you, Dr. Shishir.
Yeah. Am I audible and is my slide
Yeah,
visible?
you're audible and your slides are visible.
Yeah. So thank you so much, KSOS, Dr. Bastin, Dr. Arup, for giving me this opportunity, and also Yoke for this platform. So this is meant to help all the young ophthalmologists and who are in training, as well as the budding ones. So regarding the awards, I just want to tell, whenever you attend a conference or you send any abstract, focus on acquiring knowledge, when you do your study, and also presenting, and also enjoy the experience of attending a conference, meet up with your friends, and also the enjoyment of presenting, and, even presenting your videos and all. So don't worry much about the awards, but if your work is good, it's definitely going to get recognized, and even a congratulations, or, or even a high five from your peers is more award enough than anything else. So it should be what your work should be a combination. It should be a combination of your clinical expertise, research acumen, presentation skills, and as like Dr. Arup mentioned, you have to start a year early. So strategic planning is of extreme importance here, especially when you are applying. I mean, when you are presenting, or when you are doing a free paper or your video or your poster. So it starts with conducting high quality research, especially when you're submitting free papers. Your research should be really good to compete at. If you're aiming for a very high award, you have to do high quality research to compete with the top level. So most of the institution based practices, they have a lot of this lab research, which are actually considered and latest into the innovation, latest into the ophthalmology innovations and all. So those get a little bit of a higher preference as compared to retrospective studies. So if you're in a research institution, you should definitely make use of your research acumen, and also the lab which is available to do the studies. So identify a niche and do start off with innovative projects, and you can do a thorough research. And then once it's out, you should prepare an outstanding presentation to present in the conference, which should be crisp, clear, and concise, and use maximum visual aids, less of lettering in your PowerPoints, and practice. Make sure you stick to your time before you present. So all these factors add to the show of your presentation, as well as it gives you a higher chance of your work getting recognized, as well as reaching to the higher level to compete for an award. So nothing is without mentorship. You should definitely take help of other mentors, seniors, your own mentor, your research guide. Seek guidance from experienced members who have previously got these awards, or who have previously had a good experience or even a bad experience while presenting, and who will give you valuable feedback on what kind of specific conferences to target when you are presenting. So your submissions should be extremely strategic. You should select the conferences. So if you have done some good work in plastic, you should probably, you should probably select a oculoplasty conference and, target your presentation towards that. You should look up and follow the guidelines, and then you should tailor your submissions. Or if you have done some good work in, retina, you should probably target a retina conference, and that way your work will get a little more of a recognition. So whenever you do the abstract submission or your paper, you should make sure to demonstrate the impact, like how different is your paper as compared to previous studies. What new information does it give? So these things will definitely have an impact on whether your work is cut out for an award or not. So you should be clear on the clinical relevance, and also the outcome should be crisp and clear for the judge who's listening to your paper. So it should be effective communication, and it should engage the audience judges. And when they ask questions, you should be, clear in your answers. And if your paper is not selected, or even if it's not gone to the final phase, you can definitely ask for a feedback on improvement. So always seek feedback, don't get disheartened. And all this presentation, whether it's a paper or a video or a poster, it's always a continuous learning process. So definitely don't back out from presenting, and don't back out from submitting further videos. All these, even though if you don't win any award, it still adds to your credit that you have submitted and presented in each conference. And a lot of it depends on luck. So it's not just your hard work, there's also luck which plays a factor. So now coming to what all submissions you can do. You have free paper, physical posters, e-posters, videos, and also imaging, which till now nobody has mentioned. So that's why I've highlighted it in yellow. So when we start off with imaging, a good clinical image can be a start of an award. So we have the APAO, APAOIS imaging competition, which is held every year. Sometimes it's held in along with APAO, or it's held along with the APTOS, which is a tele-ophthalmology conference. And once you are a member, which is free of cost, once you become a member, you can keep submitting to any of the 10 categories they have. They have retina, they have anterior segment, they have general, and some other categories too. And if you win an award there, you'll be offered complimentary registration for the APAO Congress, and also you'll receive a cash prize along with a certificate. So start with this is the most simple thing you can do. Get a good clinical image, a good photograph, whether it's a fundus photograph, whether it's anterior segment photo, or even a general image of the lids of the orbit, or even a iPhone image, or even a smartphone photography. All these can be considered for awards. So the last imaging competition, which was held this year, this APAOIS, there were around 800 submissions from all over the world for the imaging competition. And I managed to get the runner-up for this APAOIS APAO conference. And my image was, sorry. So this was one of the images which was a little bit unique, which was of a branch retinal vein occlusion with multiple retinal holes. And this was a little bit unique, so I managed to get it published also in the Canadian Journal of Ophthalmology. And speaking of other competitions, if you're a retina fellow or a retina specialist, you do have these image competitions which are held monthly by the Vitreoretinal Society of India. And if you, share a unique image with them, which is then put out to vote, and you can win cash prizes here. So the first prize receives around 5,000 rupees. The second prize around 3,000, and the third prize is around 2,000 rupees. So these are also good platforms for you to get, a little bit of a recognition from your own society, which is there in India. Now, if you ask me what I submitted, this was a nucleus drop, which got first prize. The only thing different I did here was that, I just labeled it as the solar flare. So this got the first prize image. This is a relatively very common case we sometimes see in and day out, a dislocated lens in the vitreous cavity or inside lying over the retinal surface. And this got the first award. And my second image was another one of just choroidal folds, bilateral choroidal folds. And I titled it as the lunar, navigating the lunar surface. So solar and lunar, and both of these won awards at the VRSI imaging competition. Now, coming to local conferences like our own state conference, KSOS Drishti, which I'm yet to, crack it. Although I've submitted 2 videos last time, the previous year also, and I've not managed to, crack KSOS Drishti conference yet. You do have 7 free paper, which each of them giving awards, and one for the taco poster and one for the Dr. Tony Fernandez video, which gets 1 award each for that. So you should definitely try for that. And AIOS has a lot of multiple awards, which are the free paper awards. Each specialty has its own award, which you can just go through this website and look it up. There are around 18 awards. And also the physical poster has multiple awards in each section. And then the best paper is all, you have to present again for the final best paper, and you get the best free paper award. This is the Konal Rangacharya award. And you also have the best video award, which is the CS Reshmi award. So those who don't cut it for the CS Reshmi award, the AIOS, they have a separate platform, which is the FIFA 2024 Film Festival, which I won last year, the best film in Vitro-Retina in last year in the FIFA at AIOC. So you'll get a mail notifying that, you have a video has got selected for the FIFA award. And now coming to APAO, APAO has again free paper, 5 abstract awards. So here your judgment is not on your presentation, but rather on a type of abstract which you have sent. So your abstract needs to be crisp, clear. They have specific guidelines. Just go through it in the APAO website. And then once you submit your abstract, you'll get an email saying that you have received an abstract award. And then you have the most popular physical poster, e-poster, and also the most popular video, each of them giving around 5 awards each. And then you have also travel grants, which are around 5, which is granted by the APAO. So there is another meeting, which is a Singapore, Malaysia meet, where I managed to get the travel grant from them, which is around $500. It's about for ophthalmologists below the age of 40. I just managed to write to them, a good letter, and then they considered and they gave me the travel grant. And also I applied for the AIOS travel fellowship, which I received because I had recently gone to Europe, and then they kind of accepted, and I did all the submissions. The next is videos. I managed to get one best video award at the APVRS conference, which technique was a little bit unique, where I inject the BBG dye in the subretinal space and I see it coming through an occult break. So this was selected for one of the best video awards among 5. So among the 5 awards last year, 3 were won by Indians. So it's definitely possible. You should definitely give your awards to these international conferences like APA or APVRS. And finally, when you have won international awards, you can apply for the International Heroes Award in AIOS, which was my first time this year, which I received. And if you have definitely won APCRS, like our previous speakers have mentioned, you should definitely apply for the International Heroes, which is sent by a mail. And then you just need to give the original certificate, and then they'll definitely consider you for the award. So that was about the awards and accolades. Thank you. And I'm available on any of these platforms to contact.
Thank you, Dr. Shishir, for that very captivating talk, as always. He has encompassed his talk pretty much on all levels. Arup sir, would you like to make a few points?
Of course, I am really overwhelmed, Shishir, by the number of awards that you have got in such a short span of time. It's mind-boggling. So basically what it shows is, you need to be good, of course, that is there. And second thing is, you need to know how to present, how to present the same stuff in a very attractive, in a very, very fine-tuned, whatever the paper or video or poster, so that it looks different from the rest. And never underestimate yourself. Sometimes we think that, your videos or papers may not be good enough, for the international standards, but it is not so. Most of the time you find that your skill-wise, even photography or the work that you do is no inferior to many of the work that is happening in the best of the best centers, the rest of the world. So I think congrats to Shishir, and you have taught us a lot of lessons and what you have learned so early in life. So I think you're really a role model for many of us and youngsters as well as me, of course, I would say, and to go forward. But don't be too focused on getting an award. So that will take the sheen out of making the presentation, reading up about on the topic, and broad basing your knowledge on the topic, because see, you will be focusing more on how to add special effects. See, I have heard and I've also seen many of the papers which land up in the Rangachari Award session and many of the sessions, they have special effects. Actually, if you come down to the brass tacks, there's nothing much that the paper talks about. There's nothing different that what has been, known for the last 2-3 years. But then, there'll be some special effects, computer graphics, etc. So I think one should not no, do all that just to try to get an award, because it cannot be repeated. But what Shishir had shown is, every time a new work, and putting it in different perspective, be very imaginative in fighting in ascribing the right title, very attractive, very sexy title for those video presentations that he had made. So that was, I think, quite impressive. Another thing I'd like to tell you is, see, now we have been talking about attending conferences. All right, but today you have a lot of information available free on the same conferences on the net. For example, I'll give an example: American Academy of Ophthalmology. You have to become a member, and then you have to register for the conference. It costs almost close to $1,000. So, but then American Academy, they stream free of cost many important sessions. And you don't really have to see the rarest of the rarest instruction courses until unless you belong to that particular subspecialty. Like, for example, David Chang does a course on cataract surgery every Monday for 4 hours. Much of it is available free of cost. Like that, many of these general programs, symposia, etc., are available. They're streamed free they're available for a couple of weeks, I think, after the conference is over. So if you are keeping you're focused on what are the contents that are going to be made freely available, you can get a great deal of information without even traveling to that particular conference. So that is another way. I myself have done it. Some of the conferences which have stopped going. I'm on the lookout of what are the free contents they give, and I feel that whatever I needed to update myself, I have already updated it by looking at the videos from the net, from the on demand. They're not on demand basically. You need to be a member of the association, but without registering, without traveling, without need for accommodation, you can really optimize your learning process.
Thank you, Arup sir, for those very valuable words. Dr. Neha, Dr. Ramya, Dr. Saumya, anyone who would like to make a few contributions? Dr. Rania?
I think the presentation means in whichever conference you are presenting, it should be more visually appealing and attractive. Like your text should be less, and you should present the topic in such a way that the audience will understand, even if who has not read the topic. You should be able to convince them about what you are going to present, and you should have a good communication, and you should be very confident in your presentation, and the topic should be presented in a short and crisp manner, so that the others will be able to comprehend it.
And sometimes, see, there's a very prolific speaker. I won't take the name. So I asked him that, how come I haven't heard you, present something for the last 2 years? He said, look, Arup, I didn't have anything new to say. And that's the reason I don't want to rehash my old work and, old wine in a new bottle. So sometimes, it is not that you have to present something and you don't have a work ready. So you just, you just modify your old work, old talk, and put in special effects, that is, I think, okay, it may be okay that you get another paper in another conference, but actually it doesn't really add on to your own, self-development. It doesn't add on to the literature. And sometimes, it is better to wait till you know that you're doing some good work, some work which is presentation worthy, and which in a particular conference scenario, in a particular geographical area, and then present it. So I think that is something, though I'm sounding, I mean, as if, I'm on the slight on negative side, but then I have been seeing this for the last more than 30 years. So, I mean, it is always better to look out for new things, every year, something new, no, don't recycle the same presentation. Don't do the same thing again in a different title, with different number of 50 cases. Now next is 100 cases, or just jugglery with the title, and so that next batch evaluators will be misled into thinking there is something new that is happening. So I think one should tend to stay away from this kind of tendencies and make it a solid work, a good work. May not be very path-breaking, but something new, something what you haven't done, or that particular area it has not been done, and present it. So I think that is what I would really advocate the youngsters to inculcate in their work ethics, in their presentation ethics. And if you borrow something from somebody, some concept, from a senior presenter or a fellow presenter or a peer, it is always better to acknowledge. You might have learned something might have been presented earlier, and you don't we have a tendency to pass it off as our own, as something new pearls and tips. So what I have noticed is all these great speakers that I have, who have influenced me, as I've grown up, is they have all acknowledged every bit of pearl that I've learned from their peers or seniors, and then they said, this is what I've learned from them, and this is what my contribution is. That is how I differ from them. I think that kind of mindset should be, we need to inculcate that kind of a mindset, that kind of a discipline and principle, etc. Was I clear? Did I say something which people could understand, or yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The first conference that I attended as a first year, second year PG was the who's who of Indian ophthalmology. That was a meeting in Trichy. Joseph Eye Hospital had organized that meeting. There was Dr. Kaiki Mehta, Dr. K.R. Murthy, Dr. Nagpal, Dr. Badrinath, Dr. P. Namperumal Swami, Dr. G. Nachiyar, Dr. Loganathan, and many stalwarts. For me, I was just, sitting in the auditorium, only one hall, everyone spoke. And the wide mouth wonder, how could one be so good? Those days there's no internet, and it was basically your own experience in your photography, your own video. You couldn't download, you need to have from the net. So they were fantastic. So, I was quite lucky that within few months of my joining ophthalmology, I could, be witness to such great presenters. And sometimes I feel very happy that down the line, after a couple of years or so, and I could share this podium with them, and I told them that I learned so much from you guys. This is just by the way. I just wanted to share with you. So it was a nice. We have time to this thing, or what is the plan now? Bastian is here.
Yes, sir, I'm here. We have enough time.
So anybody would like to contribute something, tell something, please, feel free to, because you guys, what I've noticed is your generation is coming up, at least a decade earlier than our generation. And what we did in the 40s, you guys are doing in the 30s. So you people are really well connected, well informed, and maybe the atmosphere is such that it builds this kind of aggression positive in a positive manner, so that you present your work, you make yourself well known, and do your work to the best of your ability. So this is something which I really find very impressive, among the generation that is growing up now. Shashi is getting prizes, then Prithvi is getting win prizes after prizes, and a lot of you, many of you are getting international awards. Those of you who are trying but still not getting an award, please don't get disheartened. The award is just an award, but then ultimately the work that you're doing, the benefit that it enables you to, pass on to your patients or your peers, that is something on a different league altogether. So basically, we need to be, reading up, need to be doing new things, need to be embarking on newer studies, and keep changing with the times. Be always on the cutting edge. Try to be on the cutting edge, and be well read. Do evidence-based medicine. So that I think there's a lot of fun in living life as an ophthalmologist in those lines. Shishir, come on, a high achiever. What do you say? What do you have to say?
Very,
Drumil
very,
is here. I can say
very, very
Drumil.
nice and encouraging words, sir. I mean, and you have been the judge also for the Colonel Rangachari last year, I remember. So you have given a very clear-cut and very precise idea of things. Just one small point I wanted to add is, like you said, don't get disheartened if you don't win an award for your work, but definitely get your work published. You can always try for publishing. Now, IGO has also come out with IGO videos. Even your good videos, you can definitely submit to IGO videos and get your work on YouTube. So these are excellent two platforms. Get your work published. Even your images, you can get it published. And also the IGO videos is a very good platform. They'll even take in any, not just new techniques, but even the same technique, if you present it properly, as to why you are doing what, when, how, and indications also, they will definitely consider and publish it on YouTube. And it's indexed in PubMed. So that's the another good thing about it.
As regards the ethics of presentation, if you present the same stuff in one calendar year, that is acceptable. Like, and you start off presenting something at the AIOS, which used to happen in February, and then go on to the ASCRS, then it go on to EACRS, World of WOC when it comes up. It comes up every few years, and then go to American Academy. So same year, initially I used to wonder, how come the same video is getting a prize at at multiple forums, same video, but it is ethical, it is allowed, but make sure that you don't, take the same work forward by kind of camouflaging it by giving a very different title, catchy title, using some special effects, because there may be people who are not judges, but they'll see through it. Then you just lose your standing in the ophthalmic society. So keep this in mind that in 1 year's time, you can present the same work in all the conferences nationally as well as internationally. Next year, perhaps you have to change your topic. Drumil, chupchap ho, you are
No, sir.
maintaining
Yeah.
a dignified silence.
Yeah, I'm listening so many good insights and so many good inferences from your experience and from different experience of my colleagues and seniors and friends. So it's like a joy for learning many things. So anyway, on behalf of York, thank you, sir, for your valuable time. Just before we wind up to lot of things, I would like to take 5 minutes of you all, because we are going to reveal our new milestone, which is our York newsletter. So just I will rush through it in 5 minutes of time. So this is our title page, the York newsletter, which is a young ophthalmologist leaders of Kerala. And the credit of title page goes to the Dr. Syriac for this wonderful diagram of two hatchlings coming out holding the direct ophthalmoscope and indirect ophthalmoscope. So it gives us a goosebump. So in this issue, there are a lot many insights. So these are the forwardings from the KSOS president and York president. Then our advisory board consists of Dr. Mohan Pi sir, Dr. Sai Kumar sir, and Dr. Rajesh Sukumaran sir, who has played an instrumental role. Then we have some clinical insights also, which are helpful for the youngsters, like a demystifying hard cataract, which has been written by the Dr. Sanjeev Srinivas. Then there is a clinical pulse. We have included clinical pulse, which will give the beautiful images of any anterior segment or posterior segment photography. Then there is a photo quiz also included in it. There are some clinical photos also, like Lish nodules by Dr. John Davis. Then we are looking forward on some different topics which are not covered in our usual academics, like a financial planning, because it does play a pivotal role. So to being a good finance manager of your own, that is very, very important in current scenario. So we have a section on financial tips also. So this time's financial tip has been provided by Dr. Akash Patel, who is a one of the renowned investing coach for the doctors. Then we have avenue for the artworks, for different kind of artworks. Then there is a fellowship insights for the upcoming fellowships within this state and outside this state. Then there are few other topics like nowadays we all are getting the spam calls. So Dr. John has come up with some insight on various kind of spam calls and how to avoid it. And at the end, we have a one compilation of whatever webinars we had from our Young Ophthalmology Forum. So their compilation along with their QR code, so we can easily access it. Then there is a one section for upcoming CMEs. And this is our wonderful governing board. So I would like to thank KSOS president, then the governing body of KSOS, and as well as governing body of York, and at the last to the Dr. Prithvi, because this whole design, this full design is his brainchild. I would like to give him a credit for that. Yeah, thank you. Hello.
Yeah, Drumel, it was nice to hear your know about your plans.
Yeah.
And we are looking forward to your
Yes,
first edition, first volume. And if
Yeah,
there
so
is nothing else to be added, then maybe we'll move on to the last segment. Dr. Vinita, would like to wind up and wrap up the session.
yes, Dr. Vinita,
So,
over
yes,
to you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the end of yet another webinar. Hope it has helped everyone to embark on broadening your academic quest. And on this occasion, I would like to thank the entire KSOS team, Dr. Bastin, Dr. Arup, Dr. John, Dr. Drumel, for gathering here and giving your valuable time for this webinar. And I would also like to thank all the speakers here for their contribution. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night. Good night.